Achoo! Did I scare you? Yeah, I got sick. So I know I said I was gonna talk about SpongeBob next, but I got a little sidetracked and decided that I wanted to talk about slicing up a white girl into 17 pieces instead. This is something that I've kind of been interested in for a while now, and it's something that applies to basically every visual novel, but I've seen it the most often in Type Moon visual novels, specifically like Tsukihime and Mihoyo. If I can ever get around to finishing that Tsukihime Ruined My Life script, then this is something that I've actually already written about and want to talk about, but that's gonna be a few years out probably, so I don't really want to disappear again quite yet. Anyways, this could honestly work as its own dedicated thing because it goes way deeper than you're probably thinking, or at least I think it does, and it's kind of the idea of impulse control and like the call of the void in primordial id. Okay, that was a lot of stuff. Let me explain. So I should probably familiarize you with some of these terms. First of all, Call of the Void. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You've probably heard of it before, but it's the idea that you could just dramatically ruin your life if you wanted to by just running into oncoming traffic, or for instance, a shouting bomb in the middle of an airport. Like things that you probably shouldn't do. I'm not gonna say you can't, but I should probably move on before I get flagged for fucking encouragement of suicide. I'm next in what's next? Okay, so we have Call of the Void, but that is only one piece to the puzzle here. Next up is the idea of Mr. Sigmund Freud. If you're watching the Weksi YouTube side channel, I'm gonna assume you know who this guy is because you're all intellectuals here, and just to give you a refresher though, what we're focusing on here is his idea of the id, the ego, and the superego. I'm gonna do my best to crash course these three separate things because there is an important distinction here, and it's kind of like what this video is actually about, but I didn't want to title it Sigmund's id because that would sound fucking retarded, and we are better than that. So, the id is sort of the primitive, unconscious part of your mind that's being driven by, pleasure principle. Basically, you want to seek immediate gratification and satisfaction of your basic needs and impulses. This could include, I see a cute white woman, I want to fucking kill her. Or, better example, maybe, I see a yummy Big Mac, I want to eat it. Ego is sort of a step above the id, and it's a part of the personality that sort of you have to develop in order to deal with true reality and to make it through the day without crashing out. Something that a lot of people have trouble with now, including myself. It's basically a mediation between the id and the superego, which I probably should have explained before I got into the ego. What am I doing? The superego is the moral component of personality, representing internalized culture and parental standards and ideals. Basically, it's the idea of feeling guilt or shame for failing to meet a moral code, such as stealing or doing an impulsive act. So basically, you have the ego, the superego, and the id, and I just hit my pop filter. So you kind of want a balance of all three of these in your life. The ego is kind of the mediation between those two, but for this purpose, what I want to discuss is how Type Moon and I guess Nasu, the creator of the Fate series, Tsukihime Mihoyo, throws all of this out the window and decides that fuck it. So, we have two concepts here now. We have the Call of the Void and the Freudian id. These two are very important to explaining what I'm about to talk about because there are certain scenes in these two visual novels, Tsukihime and Mihoyo, that I don't think people discuss enough. The Tsukihime one, okay, maybe yeah, but for Mihoyo, I don't really see anybody ever talk about this, but it's something that has always stuck out to me. I still remember this vividly as if it just happened yesterday. In reality, it happened 4 months ago. But towards the beginning of Mihoyo, there's this scene where Sojiro is getting accustomed to Japan city life, and he's working at this part-time job at this, I think it's a pachinko parlor or something, but then his boss tells him to go upstairs because he thinks one of the people are cheating because she just keeps winning no matter what. And so when he goes up there, he sees the vague outline of Toko Aozaki. I don't even think we see her face in this CG, maybe we did, but it's a slow pan up to her, and as it goes up, the music just kind of cuts out and you hear this heartbeat and he just runs. He just runs away. And to me, this scene has always struck a chord with me because in comparison to Tsukihime, you also have this one moment where the character just does something that makes no logical sense, but he follows through with it, and ultimately it kind of ends up impacting the entire plot of the story. Towards the beginning of Tsukihime, Shiki's first instinct when he sees Arcuid is that he's gonna follow her home, wait at her door, open it, and then chop her up into 17 pieces and kill her. Keep in mind, he didn't know she was a vampire, so realistically, if this was just a normal girl, she would have just fucking died, and he would have no excuse or leeway with getting out of this. Like, you end up having all these scenes that kind of kick off the entire plot, and it's just showing that, like, the consequences of their actions in a way, where in Tsukihime it's a little more obvious why that would impact everything, but in Mihoyo it's like a bit more subtle because, like, yeah, you never like see her until way later in the visual novel. Literally, like, he has that moment with her and then she's gone for like 15 hours. You don't see Toko again, and the next time you do see her, she just randomly shows up at the mansion, but he doesn't really have the same reaction. They kind of just sit together and chat over some tea, and then she's like casually brings up, like, why did you run away from me, like, last month? And he didn't even realize he was really her at first, but I think that moment kind of gave you an idea of what this character was gonna be, and that something is just kind of off with her. And I guess the fact that she doesn't show up for so long in the visual novel sort of adds to this like foreboding feeling that something is like going on behind the scenes here, even though you never quite figure it out until way later. But like I was saying, visual novels as a whole, especially ones with roots, kind of have this sort of dynamic where you can pick like what you know is gonna be the correct answer to this situation. But more often than not, because you're playing a game, you just want to see what would happen if you made the wrong choice, and usually that choice ends in about 5 seconds because they just fucking kill you. But in games like Fate, another Tight Moon one, who would have thought, it's kind of encouraged to read through all of the bad endings, not just because you get to see Ilya in the Taiga Dojo, but also because they get very creative with how they kill you. Like, some of them are literally just like, yeah, you get turned into a flower, GG. There's not really any consequence for doing this in a game, and compared to real life, where every single second of every day you could be doing something entirely different which could dramatically impact your life, you actually get to see the repercussions of this within visual novels without, you know, the actual consequences. And the thing is, a lot of these topics aren't discussed that heavily in media because they are like pretty taboo, and they're not something that people like to drive a lot of focus to because it's kind of seen as embarrassing or a darker side to humanity that we just would rather not discuss. But ultimately, I think there are a lot of people that do feel these sort of sentiments at some point. I'm not saying I want to kill anybody, but what I am saying is I'm glad there was enough leeway for these thoughts to even be expressed in a form of media at all, because we live in a very scary day and age where people are trying to censor basically everything now, and taboo subjects like this kind of get shafted and are slowly fizzling out. But I think with visual novels, it is just niche enough that most people, like the general populace, considering they don't even know what a visual novel is, I think we're good for the next like few years at least. But yeah, I've got a few errands to run, so don't check the news for the next few days, and yeah, that's about it. Bye!